Why does the familiar pain of unhappy relationships feel safer than the chilling terror of loneliness? Endless cycles of arguments and reconciliations. Sound familiar? Are you tired of walking on a minefield in your own home? That quiet whisper in your head that insists, better this than nothing? Better this pain than the deafening silence of emptiness? The answer isn't in willpower, and not in the advice of friends, no matter how hard they try. The reason is deeper. It is hidden in a secret, unconscious contract, in a document you have never seen, but which you signed with the blood of your soul. And this contract is not a sentence. Carl Jung gave us the key to read its hidden clauses and understand the rules of this cruel game. Over the next hour, we will take 3 steps toward your freedom. First, we will find this secret contract in the deepest archives of your psyche. Second, we will decipher its cruel but vital terms that have made you choose pain until now. And third, most importantly, you will learn how to declare this contract null and void and reclaim your right. The right to freedom and genuine, not hard-won love. If you are ready to face the truth that your soul hides even from you, our dive begins right now. Let's talk about it. For real, not about what you tell your friends, not about the photos where you smile a little wider than necessary to hide the crack inside. Let's talk about what happens when the lights go out and the doors closed. About that pain that has no name, but has weight. It's the silence in the car after another fight that is more deafening than any scream. It's the tension in the air, so thick you could cut it with a knife when you hear the sound of the key in the lock. It's the body that instinctively tenses, preparing for a blow. Not always physical, but always emotional. It's the measured smile you wear like a mask when answering the question, "How are you?" Sign while inside everything is collapsing. Do you recognize this feeling? The feeling that you are playing a role in someone else's play about a happy life. You know all your lines. You've learned when to nod, when to stay silent, when to hug in public. But backstage in your soul, the stage is empty, and the only spectator is you, tired of the endless performance. Your home, which should be a haven, has turned into a place where you are constantly on guard. Your haven, which is poisoned by the quiet venom of unspoken claims and harbored resentments. You build a warm, cozy home, but you built it on a tectonic fault line, and you are constantly living in anticipation of a new tremor that will destroy everything to its foundations. This is that very pain, living in constant contradiction between how things should be and how they actually are. It is the exhaustion from maintaining an illusion. And today we acknowledge this pain, without judgment, without shame. We just give it space. And when you look at this pain, at this pattern of recurring suffering, you most likely ask yourself the same question. What's wrong with me? And the first most important thing you need to hear today is, this is not your fault. I will repeat it again so it penetrates through all the layers of shame and self-criticism. This is not your fault. You are not weak. You are not stupid. You are not a masochist doomed to forever choose suffering. You are a survivor. What you mistake for a personality defect is actually a flawlessly working survival program. A program written a very long time ago, in the days when love and security were inextricably linked for you with anxiety, unpredictability, and the need to earn it. Your psyche, in its desperate primal wisdom, chose familiar pain over unknown terror. It chose a predictable storm over a leap into the abyss of loneliness. It does exactly what it learned to do to protect you, and this ancient program is still active. It doesn't know that you've grown up. It doesn't know that you have new resources. It just continues to do its job according to old, outdated rules. Your loyalty to this pain is not a weakness. It is a distorted, tragic form of loyalty to yourself. Loyalty to that little child inside who once decided that this is how one must survive. And today we begin to update this code. We have acknowledged this pain. We have absolved you of blame. And now, let's take the boldest step. What if this pain is not a curse? What if it's not a bug in your code, not a punishment for past sins? What if it's a message, carefully encrypted, sent by the most important authority, your own soul. What if your unhappy relationship is not a dead end, but a portal? Not a prison where you are serving a sentence, but a narrow, dark door that you have been afraid to open until now. A door leading not outward, to another person, but inward, to you. It is a portal to the part of you that you were forced to betray in order to survive, to your right to say no, to your wild, inconvenient creative power, to your ability to be alone without feeling abandoned, to the part that knows its own worth without anyone else's approval. Understand, your soul is not a sadist, it is a strategist. It sees that you are lost, that you have given the keys to your inner world into someone else's hands. And it uses this agony, this unbearable pain in the relationship, as the most powerful megaphone to scream through to you, through the noise of others' expectations. Its cry is a call, come back home, to yourself. This paradox, suffering as a path to healing, lies at the very heart of Jungian thought. The soul does not speak to us in plain text. It speaks in symbols, symptoms, and most often pain. But to hear its true message, we cannot just dive deep. Our consciousness is cluttered with noise, the noise of superficial advice and cultural cliches. And to understand this language, we must first, like archaeologists, clear away layer by layer the popular explanations and myths that prevent us from seeing the truth. This is the debris of others' opinions, the dust of banal advice, under which the real reason for your choice is buried. Therefore, before we begin to decipher your inner contract, we will make the necessary preparation. In the next part, we will arm ourselves with the light of reason and ruthlessly expose the three main myths that hold you captive. This is the necessary disinfection of the wound before true healing can begin. So our archaeological work begins. Before we dig down to the foundation, we need to clear three huge boulders from the surface. Three great myths of popular psychology that prevent you from seeing the truth. The first great myth, I just have low self-esteem. You've certainly told yourself this hundreds of times. You've read about it in articles, heard it from friends. And in a way, you're right. Your self-esteem is indeed suffering. But here lies a fundamental mistake. You think that low self-esteem is the cause of your problems. But in reality, yes, your self-esteem is low, but it's not the cause, it's the effect. It's an indicator on the dashboard, not a breakdown in the engine. The indicator is screaming red, signaling a critical malfunction, but trying to boost self-esteem with affirmations is like covering the light with black electrical tape so it doesn't annoy you. The problem in the engine won't disappear because of it. We are looking for the breakdown. The second great myth, I'm codependent. This word, codependency, has become a convenient label. You recognized yourself in the descriptions, and it brought temporary relief. Finally, your illness has a name, but this label is a trap. Calling yourself codependent is like calling a fever high-temperature disease. Yes, it's an accurate description of the symptom, but it says nothing about the cause. Is it a virus? An infection? An inflammation? The label describes but does not explain. It states the fact of your behavior but doesn't answer the main question. Why? Why do you choose this pattern over and over again? The label becomes a comfortable prison, the end point of a diagnosis, instead of being the starting point for a real investigation. And the third most cruel myth, I just need to love myself more. This advice is heard everywhere. It's beautiful, spiritual, and absolutely useless in your condition because it demands from you something you are organically incapable of right now. Telling a person in a toxic relationship to just love yourself is like screaming grow at a flower you've planted in poisoned soil. You can't command it to grow. You must first change the soil. You cannot force yourself to feel love for yourself through willpower as long as your unconscious program, your secret contract, states that you are not worthy of love or that love is pain. These three myths, low self-esteem, codependency, and the call to love yourself, are dead ends. They make you run in circles, blaming yourself for not trying hard enough. We have cleared the site. Now that the noise of these false ideas has subsided, we can finally hear the quiet voice of the real reason. So we have cleared away the false diagnoses. And now in the resulting silence, you can ask the main question. If it's not my self-esteem, not codependency, and not a lack of self-love, then what is it? To answer it, I want to offer you a metaphor, an image that, I hope, will forever change the way you see your pain. Have you ever heard of phantom pain? A soldier loses a leg in the war. Years pass. The leg is long gone, but one night he wakes up from an agonizing cramp in the foot that no longer exists. The pain is absolutely real. It drives him crazy. But its source is not in the missing limb. It is in the memory of the nervous system, in the brain that is desperately screaming about what was lost. Your unhappy relationship is your phantom pain. The pain you feel today with your partner is real. It is exhausting, it is draining, but its source is not in this person and not in this relationship. You try to heal your partner, to fix the relationship, to talk, to persuade, to change yourself, to change him. It's all like applying ice to the place where an amputated limb once was. It is a tragic illusion because you are treating the wrong place. The real wound is in the past. In early childhood, to survive, to adapt to the rules of your family, you had to amputate a vital part of yourself. Perhaps it was your right to anger, or your need for unconditional acceptance, your ability to trust, your wild, spontaneous joy. Something was deemed inconvenient, wrong, dangerous, and you, to maintain the connection with your loved ones, severed it from yourself. And now, years later, your psyche is screaming about this loss, and your partner, without knowing it, is simply stepping on that empty, aching place. He is not the cause of the pain. He is just a trigger that activates the memory of an ancient amputation. The source of your agony is not your partner. It is within. It is the echo of an ancient trauma, the echo of the moment you learned to betray yourself to be loved. And this discovery changes everything, because it means that the key to healing is not in the hands of another person. It has always been, and remains, in yours. We have established that the pain is a phantom, an echo of an ancient wound. But theory without personal experience is just a beautiful story. It does not heal. And now I want to ask you to do something important. Not just to listen, but to participate, to become an active explorer of your inner world. In the next few minutes, I will ask you to pause this video. This is not just a break. It is the first practical step toward your freedom, the first step to finding that amputated part of yourself. When I finish speaking, please do this. Find a place where no one will disturb you for at least 5 minutes. Pause the video, sit comfortably, and close your eyes. Take 3 deep, slow breaths, in and out. And in this silence, in this safe space, I want you to ask your inner world a single, very gentle question. Don't demand an answer, just release it into your depths, like a stone sinking into quiet water. Here is the question: what is the earliest experience? The very first feeling in my life that made me believe that love is anxiety, that it must be earned, that it is always coupled with pain, tension, or the fear of loss? Important. Do not try to remember something logical. Your mind will offer you ready-made stories. Do not look for a specific event or a clear plot. Look for a feeling, the first image that comes to mind. Even if it seems strange, illogical, or unimportant, it could be a room, a face, a certain color, a feeling of cold on your skin, the sound of a voice. Just trust the first thing that appears on your inner screen. When this image or feeling appears, don't push it away. Just be with it for a few seconds. And then, open your eyes and write it down. Describe it in a few words. Don't analyze it. Don't try to understand it. Just record it. This image is the first thread that, when pulled, will unravel the whole tangle. It is the key. It is the first line of your secret contract appearing on paper. Take your time. Give yourself as much time as you need. This is sacred work. Pause the video right now. Welcome back. Whatever you saw or felt in those few minutes, whether it was clear or vague, logical or strange, know this: it is important. It is authentic. This is the first thread we will pull. And now I want you to understand, you are not alone on this journey into the depths. What you have just touched upon, this echo of the past, this emotionally charged image, this is the very territory that the great Swiss psychiatrist Carl Gustav Jung explored his entire life. He was not just a theorist, he was a cartographer of the soul. He descended into the darkest minds of the human psyche to understand why we suffer. He, like us, asked one fundamental question. Why do smart, conscious people who strive for happiness over and over again, against their will, choose the same painful scenarios? Why do we fall in love with those who are guaranteed to hurt us? And in the course of his research, he made a brilliant discovery. He understood that these painful knots of our experience, the very amputations we talked about, are not just dead memories lying in an archive. No, they become living, autonomous forces within us. They acquire their own energy, their own will, and even their own distorted logic. He gave them a precise clinical name: complexes. Imagine a clot of emotional energy frozen around an ancient trauma. It's like a small, frightened ghost in the machine of your psyche that occasionally grabs the steering wheel and directs your life straight into a familiar catastrophe. It has its own goal, its own desperate desire to be seen, to be healed. And to do this, it will recreate over and over again the very situation in which it was born. And at the very core of this complex, in its burning center, lies the secret contract we are looking for. A set of unconscious beliefs, rules, and vows that dictate your behavior. This is not just a beautiful metaphor. It is a real psychological mechanism. And in the next part, we will dissect this mechanism and see exactly how it works. We will move from what it is to how it works. To understand how this complex, this living knot of pain within you works, let's use a metaphor. A metaphor as old as the human soul itself. Imagine your psyche as a thriving kingdom. At the center of this kingdom is you, its ruler, the ego king or ego queen. You have advisors, your reason, spies, your intuition, generals, your will, and many courtiers, your feelings, talents, and abilities. In an ideal world, all parts of the kingdom live in harmony, serving the common good. But no kingdom is immune to tragedy. Early in your kingdom's history, something happened that threatened its very existence. Perhaps it was a long, icy winter, a time when warmth and love from parents were catastrophically scarce. Or perhaps it was a sudden raid by barbarians, an acute trauma, violence, or betrayal that shook the foundations of your world. And at that moment, facing the threat of total annihilation, the kingdom, in order to survive, had to make a cruel but necessary decision. With a heavy heart, you, as a wise but desperate ruler, were forced to exile one of its parts. The part that, in the new harsh conditions, had become a burden or even a danger. Perhaps it was the Prince of Spontaneity, whose loud laughter attracted predators in the icy silence. Or the Princess of Vulnerability, whose tears and need for warmth depleted the kingdom's already meager resources. You exiled her not out of cruelty, but for the survival of the whole. You told her, you want too much, you are too weak, you don't belong here. And so this exiled part, wandering in the dark, cold forests of the unconscious, makes its tragic secret contract. Left completely alone, it vows to survive at any cost. And the terms of this contract, written in tears and fear, sound something like this. Article 1. Better pain than complete oblivion. I will accept any form of attention, even cruelty, because it proves that I still exist. Article 2. Any connection, even an agonizing one, is better than the icy terror of isolation. I will cling to anyone who reminds me in any way of home. Article 3. I will attract into my life those who treat me the same way I was treated at the moment of my exile, because this language of pain and rejection is the only language of love I know. And now, years later, when you have already forgotten about this tragedy, a figure appears on the horizon, your partner, and you feel an inexplicable, fateful attraction. But understand the main thing. This person is not the enemy. He is an ambassador from your exiled part, who is knocking at the gates of your kingdom. His coldness is an echo of that very winter. His criticism is the voice with which you once exiled yourself. He has not come to destroy you, but to deliver a message. He is the living embodiment of the terms of your secret contract, come to make you, the king or queen, finally remember your exiled child. This story of exile and the secret contract happens in millions of souls, in millions of variations. Let's give it a name to see it more clearly. Let's call it Sarah's story. Sarah grew up in a good home. Her parents were decent, hardworking people. They provided her with everything: the best school, beautiful clothes, music lessons. But their kingdom was cold. Love in her family was not a warm ocean to swim in, but a rare reward to be earned. She was praised for A's, for winning academic competitions, for a perfectly clean room. But when she cried over a scraped knee or just wanted to sit quietly beside them, she was met with confusion or gentle reproach. Don't be so sensitive. Pull yourself together. You're a big girl now. Her kingdom valued strength, achievement, and order. And the small, vulnerable girl inside her, the one who needed unconditional warmth, the one who wanted to be loved not for something, but just for being, was deemed inefficient, weak, unnecessary. And this part was exiled to the farthest corners of her soul. It was there, in the cold darkness, that this exiled girl signed her secret contract. Its terms were carved on her heart with the logic of a child's survival. Article 1. My value is equal to my achievements. To be loved, I must be perfect, useful, and strong. Article 2. My needs, my vulnerability, and my negative feelings are weaknesses. They must be hidden at all costs, or I will be rejected again. Article 3. Love is a constant exam. I must prove my right to it every day. Years passed. The adult Sarah is a brilliant lawyer. She manages a department, runs marathons. Her apartment is a model of style. Her kingdom is an impregnable fortress of success. And she is in a relationship with Mark. Mark is smart, attractive, but emotionally unavailable. He rarely praises her, but easily points out the slightest flaws. He values her for her success at work, but shuts down when she tries to talk about feelings. He constantly keeps her on edge, making her prove that she is good enough. Her friends don't understand why she, so strong and independent, tolerates this. They tell her, "Leave him, you deserve better." But they don't see the internal, tragic logic. Her soul is not looking for happiness, it is looking for the familiar. Mark is the perfect actor for this role. Without knowing it, he recreates the atmosphere of her childhood for her with surgical precision. His conditional love, his criticism, his emotional distance, all of it activates her contract. With him, her unconscious feels at home, because this is the home it knows. She tries again and again to pass that same exam from her childhood with him, hoping this time to get an A and finally earn the love she so desperately lacked. She is not in love with Mark. She is in love with the chance to rewrite her past, and this chance holds her captive more securely than any chains. Sarah's story is not just a story, it is a mirror. Perhaps the details of your story are different. Perhaps your kingdom was not cold, but chaotic and full of shouting. Perhaps you exiled not vulnerability, but anger, or the right to peace, or the ability to trust. The details are not so important. The mechanism is the same. And now, let's look into this mirror together. Let's gather our courage and ask the main question. What contract is sounding inside you? What ancient vow, made in childhood, still governs your life from the shadows? Maybe its main clause states, I will be invisible and convenient so that I am never abandoned. And that's why you keep attracting selfish, demanding partners with whom you can perfectly perform your role of being invisible. Or perhaps your contract is the rescuer's vow. I will find broken people and fix them to feel needed and in control. And your unconscious, with radar-like precision, finds dependent, infantile partners who allow you to play this exhausting game over and over again. Or maybe it's the martyr's contract. I will prove my love through suffering. The more it hurts, the more I love. And you choose those who are guaranteed to make you suffer, because for your psyche, peace is not love, but indifference. Or the rebel's contract. I will provoke conflicts to feel alive because intimacy and silence scare me to death. Feel it. Which of these voices resonates within you? And when you begin to see the vague outlines of your contract, you suddenly understand the most shocking and at the same time the most liberating truth about your partner. He is not a random passerby in your life. His appearance is not a mistake or bad luck. Your partner is the perfect actor, hired by your unconscious for the lead role in a play called My Secret Contract. He was chosen with surgical precision because his wounds fit yours perfectly. His criticism is the exact key that opens your wound of rejection. His coldness is the exact atmosphere in which your fear of abandonment blossoms to its full potential. He delivers his lines flawlessly because this script was written by you, for you. Therefore, all your struggles with him, all attempts to change him, to fix him, to get through to him are doomed to fail. You are not fighting a person, you are fighting a ghost from your past, which this person only embodies. He is not the cause of your pain. He is its perfect manifestation. He is a symptom made human. And this realization, frightening but also incredibly liberating, is the point from which the real work begins, the work of rewriting the contract. We have just established that your partner is a symptom made human. This is a heavy, almost unbearable thought. Let it sink in. Don't push it away. Within it, like a pearl in a dark oyster shell, lies the key to your freedom. And now I will ask you perhaps the most important question of this hour, a question that turns poison into medicine, a question that shifts the focus from, why does he treat me this way, to what must I learn from this? Treat it not as a mental exercise, but as a meditation. Take a deep breath. If your partner were not a person with his own flaws and traumas, but an encrypted message sent personally to you by your own soul, what would that message be? What truth about yourself is he forcing you to see through his behavior? Perhaps it's a simple and cruel message. Stop seeking approval outside yourself. Your worth is enough. And his criticism is just a loud megaphone your soul is using to get this message across. Or maybe it sounds like this. Finally learn to say no. Defend your boundaries because no one else will do it for you. And his selfishness is the perfect training ground for your strength. Or maybe it's a whisper you're so afraid to hear. You are worthy of unconditional love. Stop settling for crumbs from the table. And his emotional coldness is a mirror reflecting your own hunger. Or stop saving others. Save yourself. Find what resonates, what makes something tighten inside you. Formulate it into one powerful sentence, your personal message. And when you are ready, I invite you to do something very brave. I invite you to share this insight message in the comments under this video. Understand, this is not just a comment, it is a ritual. When you take a vague feeling from the depths of your unconscious and put it into words, you make it real. You bring it into the light. You take the first conscious step toward rewriting your contract. You declare to the universe, I have heard, I understand. And the second, equally important thing, after leaving your message, read the messages of others. You will enter a room full of witnesses. You will see hundreds of reflections of your own pain and your own insight. And you will understand with stunning clarity, you are not crazy. You are not alone. This is a universal human quest. Take your time. Pause the video if you need to. Allow this message to emerge, and then record it. This is your compass. This is your starting point on the way home to yourself. So, you have heard the message. You have seen that your partner is a mirror, reflecting your secret contract. And now, standing before this knowledge, you ask the main question, what now? What do I do with this painful truth? This is where we move from diagnosis to healing. And for this, we will need a wisdom that is much older than modern psychology. The wisdom of the ancient alchemists. Alchemists believed that the greatest task of man is the transformation of lead into gold. But this was never a story about metals. It was a metaphor for the transformation of the soul. The lead, which they called prima materia, or primary matter, is nothing other than the chaos, pain, fear, and darkness of human experience. It is the heaviest, ugliest, most shameful thing within us. And so you stand before your lead. This is your pain in the relationship, your feeling of worthlessness, your fear of loneliness, your longing. This is your prima materia. The modern world, the world of quick fixes and positive thinking, shouts at you, this is toxic. Throw it away, run from it, find someone else. But Jung, as a true alchemist of the soul, says, no, look into it, do not run away. Because it is precisely in this lead, in the very thick of your pain, that the seed of your gold is hidden, the gold of your self-respect, the gold of your ability to build healthy boundaries, the gold of your ability to be in genuine, not dependent intimacy, the gold of your wholeness. Understand the most important thing. Your current crisis is not a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that the old form of your personality, the old shell you lived in, has become too tight for you. The pain you feel is not the agony of death. It is the pain of growth. Your soul, your true self, is trying to crack this shell from the inside to reach a new level of freedom and consciousness. And it is using your partner and your relationship as the most effective tool for this cracking. This is not the crack of destruction, it is the crack of birth. Your crisis is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of your initiation. And in the next part, we will look at 3 specific practical steps of this initiation. 3 keys that will help you perform your personal alchemy. So if your pain is the lead and your wholeness is the gold, how do you perform this great transformation? Where is the alchemical furnace? The answer is paradoxical and contradicts every instinct you have developed over years of struggle. The first and most important step is to stop fighting with your partner. Stop trying to change him, fix him, prove your point to him, or earn his love. Stop looking at him, and instead, begin a dialogue with the part of yourself that summoned him, with that inner exile who hired this actor for the lead role in your drama. Here we come to the very heart of Jungian work, the integration of the shadow, the return of the exiled parts home. And I must warn you, your mind will scream, no, the problem is him. If I leave, it will all be over. But this is the greatest illusion. To terminate the contract does not mean to simply leave. Many people leave only to find the exact same partner a month or a year later with a different face but the same function and sign the same contract all over again. It's like quitting a job you hate without understanding why you took it in the first place. You will soon find the exact same one, but with a different name. The real termination of the contract happens not in the external world, but in the internal one. It requires you to have the courage to turn your back on the external battlefield and enter the silence of your own heart. Imagine this exiled part, that little girl or boy, that princess of vulnerability or prince of anger. She is there in the dark, scared and alone. And at the moment your partner hurts you again, instead of yelling at him, you mentally turn to her. You don't try to fix her or shut her up. You just listen. You allow her pain, her fear, her loneliness to rise to the surface. You give her the voice she never had. You tell her, I understand why you are in so much pain. I understand why you are so scared. You have a right to feel this way. And then when she has been heard, you make a new promise to her. You make a new sacred contract with her. You look her in the eyes and say, you no longer need to attract pain for me to notice you. I see you. I am here. And I will never leave you again. Your pain is my pain. Your needs are my needs. You don't have to scream anymore. I will listen to your whisper. This is alchemy. At this very moment, you are performing a great act. You are taking the energy from the external conflict and directing it toward internal healing. You stop feeding the drama and start nourishing your soul, and then a miracle happens. When you stop reacting to your partner's provocations because you are busy with something more important, comforting your inner child, the entire dynamic of the relationship begins to collapse. His criticism no longer hits its mark because the wound it was aimed at has begun to heal under your caring attention. His emotional coldness no longer freezes you because you are learning to warm yourself from within. The actor hired for your drama suddenly finds that his scene partner has stopped playing her part. He delivers his old lines, but they hang in the void. The play is over, and then 2 paths are possible. Either your partner, deprived of the usual reaction, will be forced to change himself. Or you will suddenly look at this person and see him for the first time for real. Not as a savior or a tormentor, but just as another person with his own wounds. And with a quiet, undramatic clarity, you will understand that this story is over for you, that the contract is terminated, and you can leave not out of hatred or resentment, but out of love for yourself, with gratitude for the lesson he taught you. See? The question of should I stay or should I go loses its agonizing sharpness. It ceases to be the main thing. The main thing becomes the question, am I ready to meet myself? This is the first practical step, not a fight, but a homecoming. The inner dialogue is the foundation, but for it not to remain just a fleeting insight, it needs to be anchored. It needs to be given form. And this dialogue can begin with one simple but incredibly powerful ritual. I call it rewriting the contract. This is not just an exercise, it is your personal act of creation, your declaration of independence. When this video is over, I ask you to find half an hour of silence. Take a clean sheet of paper and a pen. These are your tools for alchemy. Divide the sheet into 2 columns. Title the left column, The Old Contract, The Rules of Exile. Here, with ruthless but compassionate honesty, write down the unconscious rules you have lived by until now, the very terms dictated by your inner exile. If you don't know where to start, remember Sarah's story. Remember your answers to the questions from the previous parts. Perhaps your points will sound like this. To be loved, I must be convenient and not cause problems. My needs are selfish and unimportant. The needs of others are the priority. Anger is dangerous. I must suppress it at all costs. If I show my vulnerability, I will be hurt or abandoned. I am responsible for my partner's feelings and happiness. Be honest. Write down everything that resonates. This is the diagnosis. This is bringing the lead into the light. Now title the right column, The New Contract, The Declaration of Freedom. Next to each point of the old contract, write its opposite, a new vow, a new rule that you consciously choose for yourself from this day forward. For example, we're next to, I must be convenient. Write, my worth does not depend on others' approval. I have the right to be myself. Next to, my needs are not important. Caring for myself is my sacred duty, not selfishness. Next to, anger is dangerous. My anger is a signal that my boundaries have been violated. I am learning to express it constructively. Next to, if I show vulnerability, I will be hurt. My vulnerability is my strength and the path to true intimacy. I choose with whom to share it. Next to, I am responsible for my partner's happiness. I am responsible for my own happiness. My partner is responsible for his. And now the most important step. Do this not as an intellectual exercise, but as a sacred ritual. When you are finished, read the old contract out loud first. Read it with respect, as a document from the past that helped you survive. Thank it for its service, and mentally let it go. And then, stand up, straighten your shoulders, and read your new contract out loud, loudly, clearly, with power. Let your own voice fill the room with the sound of your freedom. This is your manifesto, your new constitution. From this moment on, you cease to be a victim of your past and become the author of your future. Hang this sheet in a visible place. Reread it every day. This is your compass. This is your way home. You have received the map. You have received the compass. You have received the first key. And now at this point, I must tell you the truth. The path I am describing is not an easy one. It is not a magic pill that will instantly rid you of pain. There will be days when old habits, old fears will pull you back with incredible force. There will be moments when the familiar pain will seem safer than the uncertainty of freedom. Your inner critic will whisper that this is all nonsense and nothing will change. This path requires courage, but not the kind of courage written about in heroic epics. Not the courage to fight dragons in the external world. It requires a different, much rarer, and more valuable courage. The courage to look your own pain in the eye, not to turn away. The courage to stay with yourself in moments of loneliness, instead of running into the first available arms. The courage to choose the discomfort of growth over the comfort of familiar suffering. the courage to disappoint others in order to stop betraying yourself. And I want you to hear me now. The very fact that you have watched this video to this point, that you did not turn it off when it became uncomfortable or painful, that you have gone through all these layers of self-analysis, this is already irrefutable proof. Proof that you have enough strength for this journey. You would not be seeking this answer if you did not have the strength within you to endure it. The pain did not bring you here to destroy you. It brought you here because you are mature. You are ready. Understand on an unconscious level, the choice has already been made. Your soul is already tired of the old prison. It has already chosen growth. It has already begun to crack the shell. Your task now is not to start this war for freedom. It is already happening. Your task is to consciously agree with its choice, to stop resisting, and to become an ally to your own soul in its great work of your liberation. You are stronger than you think. You are wiser than you are used to believing. All the necessary strength for this path is already inside you. It was just waiting for you to pay attention to it. We have walked through the dark forests of the soul. We have descended into the archives of memory. And now we stand on a summit, ready to see the entire landscape in a single, clear light. Let's tie all the threads of our journey into one knot. So after all this, what is the cruel truth about our attraction to pain? The superficial truth is obvious. You stay in relationships that destroy you. That is cruel, but it is not the real truth, not the deepest one. The real, cruel, and ultimately liberating truth is this. You are not loyal to your partner. You are loyal to your contract. You are loyal not to this person of flesh and blood, but to that outdated, tragic document that was signed with the blood of the soul by a frightened child inside you many years ago. A child who decided that pain is a synonym for love, that earning is a synonym for intimacy, that anxiety is a synonym for attachment. You are an incredibly loyal soul. Your ability to hold on to this pain, to endure it, to return to it again and again. This is a testament to the colossal, almost indestructible power of your loyalty. But this immense power is aimed at the wrong target. And here is the main conclusion of our entire hour. Your problem is not a lack of self-love. It is a tragically, deeply misdirected loyalty. And therefore, all the work, all the alchemy, all the healing comes down to a single, sacred act, to redirect this colossal power of loyalty, to redirect it from the external person, who is merely a symptom of your wound, to the internal, exiled part of you, which is its source. You stop being loyal to the symptom and become fiercely loyal to the source of the pain. You stop trying to save the relationship with another and start building a relationship with yourself. This redirection is not just a technique. It is the very definition of healing. It is the master key that opens all other doors. And when you begin this sacred work of redirecting your loyalty, when you turn to face yourself, what becomes possible? I want you to imagine this future for a moment. Not necessarily a future without this person, but a future without this contract. Imagine a future where the silence in the room is not a harbinger of a storm, but a space for peace, where you can be yourself without constantly scanning your partner's face for approval or disapproval, where you enter into intimacy not out of a desperate fear of loneliness, but out of the calm joy of connection. Imagine a future where you choose partners not to fill your emptiness, but to share your fullness with them. A future where a compliment is a pleasant bonus, not a vital source of oxygen. Where criticism is just information, not a verdict on your worth. Where a disagreement is just a disagreement, not a threat of total annihilation. This future does not come in a day. It is not a destination you will one day magically arrive at. It is built, moment by moment. It is built with every act of awareness when you notice an old impulse and do not obey it. Every time you choose to comfort your inner child instead of engaging in an old, meaningless argument. Every time you say your new yes or your new no, not out of fear, but out of love for yourself. This is not a fantasy, it is a promise. A promise inherent in the very nature of your soul, which always strives for wholeness. This is the future in which you finally come home. Before we finish, I want to tell you something personal. I want to thank you. And no, not for spending an hour of your time, not for watching, but for your courage. for not turning off this video when it became uncomfortable, for daring to embark on this journey into yourself, knowing that it could be painful. Most people spend their entire lives running from the truth you have faced today. That requires real bravery, and by doing this, you have ceased to be just a viewer. You have become part of an invisible community, a community of people who have chosen consciousness over sleep, healing over oblivion, and the difficult path to truth over the easy road of illusion. If you look at the comments under this video, you will see them. You will see hundreds of stories, hundreds of messages, hundreds of souls walking alongside you. You are no longer alone in this quest. We are all here together, learning to redirect our loyalty from pain to healing. And so, from the bottom of my heart, I say to you, welcome. Welcome to the path home. Our shared dive is coming to an end, but your personal journey, your return home, is just beginning. If this hour spent together has been valuable to you, if you felt that we speak the language of your soul here, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. Do so to continue our collaborative work of mapping the inner world and transforming the lead of pain into the gold of awareness. Your like on this video is not just a number. It is a signal. It is a beacon for other seekers who are right now wandering in the same darkness from which you have begun to find a way out. Your simple click can become the beginning of someone else's own path to healing, showing them that they are not alone in their struggle. And of course, do not forget the power of your words in the comments. Your story is medicine for another. And now as we conclude our meeting, as you prepare to close this tab and return to your life, I ask you to remember one most important thing. Your past wound does not have to write the script for your future. The pen is in your hands. Start writing a new chapter right now.